You know what kills me the most about homelessness? All the fucking waiting that I do every day. I wake up and then I stand in line to wait for a cup of coffee. It's a Sunday morning, so I'm waiting for the library to open up. You know, if I want to eat lunch or dinner, I gotta go wait in a line and then wait in another line. You know, before I go to bed, I have to wait in a long ass line. You know, I can go to work and I can wait until I have enough money till I can fucking rent an apartment. I just hate that aspect of America. Like, I feel like I'm wasting my fucking time when I'm waiting. How many hours of my life have been wasted just waiting for something? And I fucking hate how everybody just assumes it's so fucking easy to go from homelessness to fucking stable. It's not like that. People tell me I'm working in the trades and now I'm making $200,000 more money I've ever made in my life. You're gonna love going to work for 12 hours a day, Jizzle. And when people talk about getting into the trades, they don't talk about the fact that you need to have your own tools. You know, a lot of times it helps to have your own work truck. You know, it helps to be a subcontractor. You know, you gotta know some people who know some people. It's not like you just put on a fucking hard hat and go straight to work. You can go work for any company, but they're not trying to pay you fair wages. You know, a lot of these tradespeople are barely breaking even themselves. You know, they have to pay for the materials, they have to pay for the labor, they have to pay for the fucking insurance, they have to pay for the fucking fuel, they have to pay for the tools. And when we keep talking about getting into the trades and how good of money it is, you know, people aren't fucking hiring. You know, usually through the temp agency, they have a ton of construction-based work over the summer and spring. There's like 2-3 cleanup jobs the entire fucking year. There was no construction labor, there was no construction anything. I did work for a little while at this place, Missoula Concrete Company, and that shit sucks. People don't really understand the level of work that you have to do just to make a little bit of fucking money. You know, Missoula Concrete Company is one of those places where you don't get a traditional break. Everything at Missoula Concrete Company is a fucking rush. You gotta rush to set the form up. The only break you really get is when they pull the tension wire through. Then you gotta rush to tie all the rebar together. Break time? Is it break time yet? And they laugh at your fucking face. You know, going for 4 straight hours, just busting your ass. Then these bastards set it up in such a way so that they pour just before lunch break. The moment these people pour, you don't get a break. Because then you have to rush to smooth it out before it sets up. And then you have to rush to fucking finish it. Then you clean up, days over, it's been 10 hours and you still haven't taken a break. You know, and homelessness adds another layer on top of employment. I would get off of work from there, go to Planet Fitness and fucking take a shower or, you know, go work out before or after work. You know, by the time you get off, the homeless shelter has already stopped serving lunch or dinner. Sometimes they don't have a sack lunch, so guess what you gotta do? You gotta buy your own food. That takes time. Do I go to Walmart? Do I go to fucking Albertsons? Nah, I usually just end up at the fresh market. And then you eat up all your food and you have yourself a nice little smoke break, and by God, it's already fucking bedtime. You know, and if you're like Jizzle D Freak, you don't go to bed at a set hour every day. You just kind of fucking fall asleep. If you're like me, when I'm employed, I tend to stay up later than I want to so that I can, you know, have a few extra hours to myself. You know, I was even waking up earlier so that I can have an extra hour or two for myself to do something. And that lifestyle catches up after a while. It's exhausting. And that's why I just end up quitting a lot of fucking jobs that I do. I used to work at Enterprise and I just no call, no showed. I was so exhausted from that shit. Worked at Walmart all last year, got fired over a no headphone policy, and then these motherfucking bastards got rid of the no headphone policy, but I can't get re-employed there. Fuck everybody. You know, a lot of people work in the servants industry. You know, if you're a waitress, chances are you're getting paid less than minimum wage. Last I checked in Idaho, they're only getting like $2-3 an hour. You know, I'm sure Missoula's fucking pretty bad on waitress wages as well. You know how fucked up that is? You put in an 8-hour shift and you only make fucking $20. Well, I hope people fucking tip and make up for those lost wages that the company won't pay us. And I think it's completely fucked that your wage is completely dependent on someone else's mood. You know, there's a lot of beautiful waitresses out there and they have nice personalities. And some wives and girlfriends get jealous when the waitress talks to their boyfriend or husband and, no, don't give her a tip, she's being a bitch. Like, nobody ever talks about the amount of abuse that the service industry takes from people every single day. You know, if you're a dishwasher, a waitress, a busser, you're just getting paid to be somebody's fucking whipping boy or girl. You know, one job that I had in Boise as a dishwasher, Juniper, was completely fucked. You know, I showed up and they're supposed to train me, but then the guy that was supposed to train me just never showed up for some reason. Oh, this is your first time washing dishes and I don't know how to keep up with the pace of a kitchen yet. And then on top of it, they wanted me to form these deer burgers like in the dish pit. Like, how do you expect somebody to prep fucking meat right next to a fucking dish pit while they're covered in fucking dishwater? And then the next day they just let me go. They're like, yeah, this isn't gonna work out. Yeah, that's kind of how that works when you don't fucking train people correctly on what to do. Because for some weird reason here in America, we just expect people to have 10, 20 plus years of experience to do the most basic fucking jobs. We tend to treat dishwashing like it's rocket science. You know, another job I had in the trades was fencing, and that job was fucking awful, I won't lie. You know, you just spend 12 plus hours every single day putting up fences in a field. Are you guys cool with that? You know, the money was good and they're teaching me how to weld, but you know, you put in a 12-hour fucking day, you go home to pass out, but everybody in the house is on night shift, so they're all getting up and making noise. My mom comes home at like 3 in the morning, a few hours before I have to wake up, and her 2 dogs go fucking apeshit. You know, that lifestyle began to wear on me real fucking quick. And I know the 2 young guys that I was working with, you know, it wore on them as well. And one thing that really sucks to see in any trades is just the degree of exploitation. Like the manager I had for the fencing job was loyal to a fault. He'd come in early, he'd stay extra late, and he wouldn't take any pay for it. They all like to get together to drink whiskey after work too. But that's just small town shit. That's what people do. They get fuckered up because there's nothing better to do. And I think it's frustrating too that so many people out there, they don't understand that they're human beings. They seem to believe that they are their jobs or they are their wages, and that there's some virtue to working for free or slaving your life away. Like, it's fucking wild how Americans take on extra work without pay every fucking day. And it's always under this mentality of, I gotta show some initiative so I can get that promotion, so I can get that raise. And I hate how so many people out there in America try to shame you for not picking up extra work without the pay. Oh, you're just not as a hard worker as I am, I guess. Like, the fact that people take pride in being taken advantage of, working for free, because they think it'll get them something at a later point in time. And then shaming people who want their fair fucking share. It's like, why am I gonna put in a whole 8-hour day for fucking free? That's stupid. You know, maybe it's just white people trying to trick us all back into slavery. If you work extra hard for free, you know, we'll give you those wages at a later point in time. Okay? Y'all don't know how bad it pisses me off when you clock out and then somebody's like, hey man, can you help me with this real quick? Let's just get it out of the way while you're off the clock, and then we'll call it a day, huh? You know, a lot of people, they don't get paid for fucking drive time. You know, I worked at a company once and there was jobs all over Montana, and you know, that was a point of contention for a lot of people. They gotta wake up, jump in their car, drive 2 hours away. Do they get paid drive time? No, they don't. A lot of people wake up every day, they sit in traffic for 3 hours, 1.5 there, 1.5 on the way back. Do they get drive time? No. Nah, that's just wasted fucking time. And that's the thing that kills me about working anymore, is I just feel like I'm wasting my time. I'm not making any progress. Our wages aren't going any higher, but the cost of living is fucking soaring, and that's a problem. We're just being expected to work 16 hours a day at this point. Y'all can. I'm good on all that fucking shit.